Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Henry Higgins III, and if you saw the pair of shorts featuring 32 movies that I'm looking forward to this year, you might have noticed, you likely will have seen that there was 4 rather glaring omissions, especially when considering my well-established affinity for comic book movies. Now, the reason for that was I wanted to discuss that quartet in more detail. So in this video we'll be doing just that as we take a look at Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts with an asterisk, Superman, and the Fantastic Four First Steps, and we'll do them in day release order. After only releasing one movie in 2024 with Deadpool and Wolverine, and even that was only MCU adjacent for the most part, Marvel are trebling their output for 2025. Now, it's fair to say that while I have enjoyed Phase 4 and Phase 5 for the most part, both in film and TV, with the exception of the Secret Invasion finale, which I think bombed really badly, they definitely haven't reached the heights of the Infinity Saga. Now, to be fair, that is an extremely high bar. It's an extremely high bar that was set by that first 3 phases. Thanos as an overarching villain is going to be hard to top for anybody. And the joy of comic book and comic book movie fans seeing these characters done right in general, objectively, intermingled so wonderfully with each other, and that first full group shot in Avengers 1, all that was phenomenal. And then you take that all the way to the Avengers Assemble moment in Endgame, it's impossible to replicate how great that was. Infinity War and Endgame felt earned. They felt earned by the characters, earned by the actors playing those roles, earned by the producers and directors of those various movies, earned by the studio, and earned by the fans who went along on that journey. So that was like 22 movies to get to that point. So what followed always had a big hill to climb. Some succeeded in at least getting close, such as Loki, Season 1 of What If, Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Guardians 3, WandaVision, Moon Knight, and, for me, Miss Marvel. The majority of the rest were good, and within them they had some excellent moments as well, but nothing really reached the heights of the first 3 phases. And it seems that Marvel has understood this, which is why they effectively took 2024 off from movies and they focused more on the TV side. Because this gave them, and it gave the fans, a break while they reassessed the future of the MCU. And that leads us to what 3/4 of what the discussion today is going to be about. And we're starting off with Captain America Brave New World. Following the 3 titled movies for the Steve Rogers version of Cap and the final moments of Endgame, all eyes obviously were on how well Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson would take over the mantle. And interestingly, the first post-Endgame taste came in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a show that I enjoyed, but one that obviously suffered from rewrites, a fair few of them due to the pandemic being too close to the virus subplot in the show itself. And also after Wilson decided not to take on the Captain America title, because it was obviously bestowed upon John Walker, and it was bestowed upon John Walker with disastrous results, ultimately leading to Sam becoming the official Captain America by the end of that series. It has been relatively quiet on that front now for almost 4 years, but the wait is almost over, as we now have the 4th Captain America movie, tying him with Thor for the most solo outings, even if Civil War was essentially Avengers Light, which sees Danny Ramirez returning as Joaquin Torres, who's taking on Sam's old persona of Falcon. Also joining the cast and grabbing most of the headlines with it is Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross. He's replacing the late William Hurt as the former general, who is now the President of the United States. That does have some questions of its own, and I'm wondering if, due to the lukewarm reaction to Secret Invasion, that if he beat President Ritson to get elected after Ritson's all-out war declaration against all non-humans on Earth backfired, that would also conveniently sweep that little story arc under the proverbial rug. So they don't have to really deal with it anymore, because there's going to be some stuff I believe that's just going to be forgotten. Also coming to the cast, and coming to the cast late, according to reports and the subject of a lot of reshoots of the movie, is Giancarlo Esposito, who makes his MCW debut as Seth Volker, also known as Sidewinder, the leader of the Serpent Society. From reports and from footage in the trailer, he will be drastically different to his comic book counterpart, and may also be the reason that Seth Rollins had his role cut from the movie. We're also getting Liv Tyler coming back as Betty Ross from the 2008 The Incredible Hulk movie. But most intriguing member, for me, the most intriguing member of the cast for this film is Tim Blake Nelson reprising his role of Samuel Stearns from the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie also. Long the forgotten son of the MCU, that film was, again, for me, in my opinion, it was a great movie, and it left the tease of Stearns being transformed into the leader that has kind of been sat on now for almost 20 years. So the marketing for Brave New World confirmed the transformation into the leader, though we've not really seen exactly what it looks like yet. And I'm excited to see how much of what has happened in the non-cosmic side of the MCU from the end of that movie till now has had the leader in the background pulling the strings, because he's a very grounded character by the looks of things in this trailer, in the basis of the Captain America side of things, which is obviously the spy, espionage, thriller stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how much he's been pulling. As I say, pulling the strings for everything. Being the first of the 4 big comic book movies of 2025, and the first of the 3 MCU outings, especially since Marvel have kind of refocused on what they're doing, Captain America Brave New World really has to hit the ground running. And the secret weapon they have for that is likely in the form of the crimson-skinned monstrosity that is Red Hulk. And again, that's no secret, it's been put out there. It was spoiled by the Funkos anyway, but you have to imagine if they're showing Red Hulk so prominently in the trailers, what big other surprises do they have? So from the brief moments of footage in the trailer, they definitely seem to have nailed Red Hulk visually, with Harrison Ford gleefully recounting his time in the performance capture outfit, adding to this, adding to the potential greatness of that character. And as I say, it has been revealed in the trailer, so it gives me hope that they are keeping an even bigger reveal for opening night. So that, along with the introduction of Adamantium to the MCU, which sets up a lot of potential storylines going forward, has me excited that there will be a lot of love shown for this film once it's opened on Valentine's Day. Thunderbolts, with that all-important asterisk, is the second of the 2025 MCU trifecta of movies, and it's the one that seems to have the least it's all connected stakes, comparatively speaking, of the 3, but definitely looks like it could be the most that is just a fun experience. You know, just that movie that you go in not really expecting too much and you come out thinking, that was an awesome time. That was an awesome way to spend 2 hours. Now, that being said, bringing together a ragtag group of misfits is a cliche at this point. It's been a cliche for a long time, with many labelling this as Marvel's Suicide Squad, which is understandable. That the Thunderbolts Asterix team is comprised of some of my favourite side characters, that's definitely a bonus, and with Yelena, Bucky and Red Guardian interacting, sure to have me grinning from ear to ear. John Walker getting a redemption arc could also be interesting, as while he was a shitty Captain America, I mean, sidebar for a second, you never want to be the guy stepping into the shoes of a legend. It's much better to be the guy stepping into the shoes of the person who failed to follow the legend. There is a lot to explore with John Walker with that character, so I am here for it. Ghost returning also excites me, as she was a standout from Ant-Man and Wasp. While Taskmaster coming back is also cool with me, even if I do seem to be in the minority who liked the character from Black Widow and the source of her powers in Black Widow. I mean, sure, I do hope the actual Taskmaster, Tony Masters, does appear down the line, but there's also room for Antonia Dreykov's version too. And rounding out the returning cast is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's playing again, obviously, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, or Val for short, and she's one of the more mischievous antagonists in the MCU. But you do get the feeling she's hiding behind that as a facade and could go full Wrath of God if provoked enough. However, speaking of a god, that brings us to the big debuting character, Bob. Now, not the most intimidating of names, which is why his hero codename of Sentry is more apropos. Easily, at least comic book version, easily one of the most powered, if not overpowered heroes in Marvel canon. Sentry is sometimes referred to as Marvel's Superman, but he's more like what a fully powered Kryptonian would consider a Superman to be. I mean, his power set is ridiculous. Just take a look at this screen grab from the character's Wikipedia entry. He's more like Marvel's Dr. Manhattan than their Superman. Seeing how he and his power set, if he's moved over from the comics wholesale, fits into the narrative of this story and the Thunderbolts themselves is going to be interesting, because while those characters are powered, they're metahumans, they're more than just human, due to what the gifts they have, including like three super soldiers actually, in Red Guardian, Bucky and John Walker. None of them are like super powered superheroes in that sense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they cope with someone as powerful as Bob, as powerful as Sentry. But we're getting ahead of ourselves there. The trailer itself was a lot of fun, showing off the group dynamic and also confirming it was Val who purchased Avengers Tower. So with Adamantium from Tiamat, the leader, coming back, and now this, it seems that Marvel is in its let's answer some long lingering questions period. So Thunderbolts does have the potential to steal the spotlight from the other films on this list if they nail the team dynamic as well as the trailer suggests. So it's definitely, from the ones on this list, the least heralded, arguably, but I definitely think it's the one that's going to excel well beyond its expectations. And that is what I'm looking forward to. Crossing over the line, we're on the DCU side now, and Superman kicks off the DCU movie slate following the excellent Creature Commando show that was also from James Gunn. If you haven't seen Creature Commandos, I urge you to go and check it out. It's 8 episodes, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's a nice taste and a nice setup for what Gunn's going for. But that said, it's almost impossible to exaggerate just how important this film is for the DCU. I mean, sure, being the debut cinematic experience brings its own level of pressure, but after the calamity that the DCEU became, James Gunn and crew need to hit the ground running, or since it is the last son of Krypton, they need to skim the clouds flying. It's an interesting parallel as well that the DCEU also started off with a Superman movie, and one that was generally well received, with Henry Cavill's take on the Man of Steel being considered up there with Christopher Reeves for many, and being above Christopher Reeves for some. So hopefully Gunn and fellow CEO Peter Safran can avoid the mishaps the DCU had following that blistering debut. One way they're actively looking to do this was shown in the trailer. So this is not a world new to superheroes. Superman's been doing this for a while. The world is populated with heroes and villains already, so we're stepping into a fully formed universe with the trailer and Creature Commandos confirming that there are Green Lanterns, Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Peacemaker's crew, Starfire, Starro, and the Wally West version of The Flash, among others. As it relates to the cast itself, I'm not that familiar with the work of David Corenswet or Rachel Brosnahan, but both came across fantastic from the trailer footage, with Corenswet giving off great vibes as both Clark and as Superman. On the other hand, Nicholas Hoult is someone I am very familiar with, and visually he is perfect as a younger Lex Luthor. Comparisons to Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, they're going to be inevitable. What a lot of people need to remember, Michael Rosenbaum is, again for me, he's the perfect Lex for me as well. He had a long time, he had a full run, multiple seasons of a TV show to establish his version of the character. The movie versions don't get that luxury. So Nicholas Hoult does look like he's going to capture the essence of the character perfectly, but try and keep the comparisons to Rosenbaum to a minimum. Likewise, Anthony Carrigan is always a delight. He was amazing in Gotham as Victor Zsasz. Nathan Fillion looks perfectly ridiculous as Guy Gardner. Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl also looks excellent. Plus, we do get brief glimpses of both Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen and Sarah Sampaio as Eve Tessmacher, along with a long-time favourite of mine and a great character actor, Pruitt Taylor Vince, as Jonathan Kent. Interestingly, on that, Neva Howell has been cast as Martha Kent, but there's no footage of her in the trailer. There is a photograph, but there's no actual footage of her as the character. And the pervading theory is that she is the one who dies rather than her husband this time out. It will be an interesting twist on that, because normally, like I say, the teachings of Jonathan and Jonathan passes, and that's what Clark always goes back to as memories, especially when he's put in situations where he has a choice to do the right or the wrong or the less right thing, and it's memories of his dad and the wisdom his dad imparted on him that pushes him in one direction. So have they switched the roles there? We'll find out when the movie comes out. Also in the cast is Alan Tudyk, and his role has not been revealed as of yet. He has voiced Clayface, Joker, Candyman and Firefly, among others, in the Harley Quinn animated show. Again, another one you should check out. Plus, he also voiced Clayface and Dr. Phosphorus in the Creature Commandos cartoon. So he could realistically be playing anyone. Though it's worth noting that the pre-powered Phosphorus was also drawn and animated to look like Alan Tudyk. But Gunn has said categorically that Dr. Phosphorus will not feature in Superman, which does leave him open for other characters, and that could be Brainiac, who is rumoured to be the big bad of the film. Another part of that casting, just to note, that James Gunn has said that he wants the cartoons, the video games, and the movies, and the live-action TV shows to all feature the same cast. So in the cartoons it's the same voice cast, in the movies it's the same actors playing those characters in live action and on TV, and in the video games it will be the same actors voicing them. So, generally speaking, anyone who appears as a character in one medium, in one show or movie or game, will appear as that character if that character appears in a future movie, TV show, or video game. So that could be interesting to see if Alan Tudyk is playing Brainiac. A lot of people do think he is. And while we're talking of the cast, an interesting side note is that while Superman is the sole DCU movie for 2025, it is the second film on the list for Wendell Pierce, who finds himself in the cast for back-to-back MCU and DCU movies, as he's in Thunderbolts, though currently as an unnamed character, while in Superman he will be playing Perry White, the legendary editor of the Daily Planet newspaper where Clark worked. So he's unknown in Thunderbolts, but he is Perry White, a major character in Superman. So that means while he is an unknown in Thunderbolts, so he may have a minor role, he may have a major role as a major character that's introduced, we do know he's going to be Perry White in Superman, and that is a major character in the lives of Clark Kent and Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. James Gunn himself, though, he knows he needs to come out of the gate strong with Superman. And the teaser trailer that was released did exactly that. Focusing on imagery, vibe and tone, rather than like the movie itself with regards to plot and such like. There are only 2 lines of dialogue, and one of them is whispered, the other one is strained, with the rest of the footage just being varying moments of the movie, giving us a feel for this world that he's created. And with this world that he's created and the footage in the trailer, I am super excited. Pun fully intended, and that's without even mentioning fucking Crypto. Crypto on the big screen. The Titans TV show did give us a live action Crypto, but this one just feels different. It just feels right. So, Superman releases on July 11th, and I'm hoping that it is the start of something amazing, and the DCU can learn from the DCEU's mistakes. The last film featured today kicks off Phase 6 of the MCU, and it is one that features the debut of some long-awaited characters in the Fantastic Four First Steps. So, short history: following the purchase of Fox by Disney, the Marvel characters that Fox had the rights to were part of that deal, with the main ones being the X-Men, including Deadpool, and the first family of Marvel Comics, the Fantastic Four. So, we've seen X-Men scattered in slowly in the MCU. Obviously Wolverine was in Wolverine and Deadpool, and he referenced the other X-Men. There was X-Men featured in The Void there, but also we've had live action Beast at the end of the Marvels, so that's being seeded in. But the Fantastic Four have not been featured much. We did get that wonderful Johnny Storm cameo in Deadpool as well. That obviously then means that version of the Fantastic Four exists somewhere. We did get Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness as well. John Krasinski is a little bit of fan casting, a little bit of fan service there. But as characters featuring in the movies, not so much. So at the time of recording, no footage has been released to the general public. Hello everyone, Henry from the future here, just jumping in because, as I mentioned in the video you're actually watching, at the time of recording there was no footage for the Fantastic Four available, just, let's say, still images, grainy images, and conjecture. But as soon as I finished recording the video you're watching, I jumped online to get some assets for the video, and lo and behold, a notification that the trailer would be dropping the next day. So by the time you're watching that video, my actual live trailer reaction to the Fantastic Four trailer will be on the channel, linked in the description below here as well, along with the trailers for Captain America, Superman and Thunderbolts, the reactions to those. But enough interjection from me from the future. Let's go back to past Henry and continue with the video. Though there has been some clips shown at various conventions, with word of mouth being strongly in favour of what has been seen. A big talking point regarding what is known about the plot is that it is set in an alternative universe 1960s, and the Fantastic Four, much like the DC characters in James Gunn's Superman we talked about earlier, they have been operating for some time before the events of this movie. So cast-wise, they have hit it out the park with Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm, and Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. All have excellent resumes and all bring an inbuilt fan base from outside of the MCU, though Eben is technically a current part of the MCU following his role in the Punisher TV series, since that has been folded in to the MCU with Daredevil Born Again, and all should have no problem nailing their respective roles in the Fantastic Four. We also have Julia Garner as the Shalla-Bal version of Silver Surfer, a character I have no familiarity with. But her appearance does indicate the existence of the Norrin Rad Silver Surfer, if they stick to Shalla-Bal's comic book origins. And the Norrin Rad Silver Surfer was featured in Rise of the Silver Surfer, the second of the Fox Fantastic Four movies. He, as a character, I believe, was translated brilliantly, and he could appear. There is no could about a character from that same movie who wasn't done so well, though was likely being set up as a sequel to do it properly, and that is Galactus, because Ralph Ineson, he will be taking on the mantle of the Devourer of Worlds. And with the brief glimpse of him being seen in the convention footage, showing that he appears to be taking on a more comic book accurate version of Galactus who appears on Earth. Side note, Kevin Feige himself has said that he used the Galactus from Fortnite, the Fortnite crossover with Marvel, as the inspiration for the version, at least visually, that we're going to see here. Other members of the cast include Paul Walter Hauser, John Malkovich, and Natasha Lyonne, who was recently seen in the season of What If as the character Birdie. But there's no characters announced as being assigned to any of them. However, online scuttlebutt, with varying levels of credibility, it has to be said, have them as Mole Man, Puppet Master, and Alicia Masters, respectively. On top of that, there are rumours that this is where Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will make his debut, as he will originate from the alternate 1960s universe also. And there's also some theories that other characters exist and could be referenced, such as the X-Men themselves. And this universe is a late 60s comic accurate Marvel universe from that period, with every character that existed at the time on paper existing in this film, though obviously they're not going to be shown. All of them aren't going to be shown, and all of them may not even be referenced, but I can see there being references to characters who don't appear in the movie to flesh out that this is a fully complete comic 616 universe. With incursions being brought into play via Multiverse of Madness, and Reed Richards from the A38 universe, many people believe that the Fantastic Four's universe for this film will be destroyed in an incursion also. Likely with the live-action 616 universe, the Sacred Timeline, being the other one involved. With that itself leading to Avengers Doomsday, and that leading to Victor becoming God Emperor Doom, Battle World being created, and the Secret War closing out this phase being the end result of all of that. We might even get a Council of Reeds featuring Alex Hyde White from the 1994 Roger Corman movie that was never officially released, Ioan Gruffudd from the first two Fox Fantastic Four movies, Miles Teller from the last Fox Fantastic Four movie, and even John Krasinski returning to play their respective versions alongside Pedro Pascal in this one, and maybe some other, similar to like they did with the Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine, having like various versions. They could have various versions here played by other people. It does have to be said that that's a lot of words for a movie I have seen literally no moving images for. Just some blurry stills taken covertly and the word of mouth. But Fantastic Four First Steps is a monumental entry in the MCU filmography, and one that, from reports, is the closest to Kevin Feige's heart. So you know he is going to do all he can to make this a success. Transition! And there we have it, the big four comic book movies for 2025, where we will see the DCU cinematic debut with Superman, the MCU debut of the Fantastic Four, Sam Wilson's first film as Captain America, and the introduction of arguably the most powerful non-cosmic entity character in the MCU in the form of Bob. It's a lot to get excited about. And there's a lot to be excited about as James Gunn's DCU starts its first phase. Marvel enters its sixth phase, with the future hopefully being bright for both of them. The DCU has Superman and Peacemaker Season 2 in 2025, with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Clayface hitting cinemas in 2026. Following that, with a few other titles with no scheduled release date as of yet. Over in the MCU, Phase 6 currently has, appropriately enough, 4 films slated, with Fantastic Four First Steps in 2025, Avengers Doomsday and a 4th Spider-Man movie in 2026, and Avengers Secret War rounding that out in May 2027. However, there are 2 2025 release dates that have been set by Marvel with no announced projects, those being February the 3rd and November the 6th, 2026. The pervading theory is that one of them will be a 3rd Doctor Strange movie, and the other either Thor 5, which has been talked about, or finally the MCU iteration of Blade. Either way, Phase 6 will conclude the multiverse saga and lead us into the highly anticipated mutant saga that begins with Phase 7. But that's way, way in the future. We have a lot to look forward to between now and then. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on the 4 movies featured in this video, the future of the MCU and the DCU as a whole, and which title you are most looking forward to. Thank you for watching the video and spending your time with me. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, look after yourselves, look after each other, stay safe, stay awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.